Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of New Westminster's Sunday celebration service. Please join us for our opening song this morning, I Do What Gives Me Life.
I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. Hey, hey, I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. Hey, hey, in these moments I am given, in situations called me, I now choose this path of living. I now choose what sets me free. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. Hey, I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. Hey, in these moments I am given. These moments I am given. In situations called me, I now choose this path of living. I now choose what sets me free. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. Hey, I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. Hey, these moments I am given, in situations called me, I now choose this path of living. I now choose what sets me free. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. Hey, I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. Hey, these moments I'm given, in situations called me, I now choose this path of living. I now choose what sets me free. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. Hey, I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. I do what gives me life. Hey,
Welcome back. I am Reverend Rhona Segarra, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Sunday celebration service at Unity of New Westminster in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Whether you are watching us live on YouTube, on Facebook, or on Zoom, or whether you are watching us on demand after the celebration service, I extend a very warm welcome to each and every person joining us. We hope that you enjoy your experience with us, and we would love for you to remain connected with us. So please subscribe to our newsletter, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, or like us on Facebook, and that way you can remain connected with us. The Unity movement offers ideas for full and abundant living. We draw on the teachings of Jesus, who we consider our primary way shower and example. And we honor that there is wisdom in faith traditions all over the planet. We honor every person's right to choose their own life path. All are welcome here. All are worthy here. All are celebrated here. We open our service today in prayer. I gratefully acknowledge that I speak to you on the traditional and unceded territory of the Semiahmoo First Nation. And we give thanks to First Nation peoples everywhere for their custody of this beautiful land. We give thanks that we are able to meet together in this virtual setting at a time when we are unable to meet in person. We give thanks for our connection one with each other. That connection that happens whether we are in each other's physical presence or not. That connection that binds us all together. We acknowledge that there is only one presence, that there is only one power, that power that is understood by many names, many faces, and many paths. And we affirm that regardless of the name, the face, or the path of our understanding, that we are one human family. And it is in that knowledge of our oneness that we send a blessing for love, for peace, for contentment to every being on this planet, to every being, regardless of all the labels that threaten to divide us. We are one. And for this knowledge, for this intention, and for the power that we have to bless, we give thanks. Amen. Today's daily word will be read by someone who has been a member of our community for many years. She is a person who appears quiet and shy at first. And then when you get to know her, you discover that she has a depth of loyalty, of wit and wisdom that one would never expect. She has a resilient spirit, a wonderful smile, a brilliant laugh, and an optimism which inspires. Please welcome, to read the daily word today, Diane Ruck.
Okay, good morning. My name is Diane, and I'll do the reading for Sunday, March 21st. I extended forgiveness to myself. Throughout my life, I have forgiven those who have hurt and disappointed me. In turn, I have been grateful when others extended understanding and forgiveness to me. Even though I have learned to be forgiving with others, I may still find it difficult to forgive myself for mistakes I've made, disappointments I've caused, and commitments I have broken. Today I open my heart, and with love and compassion, I forgive myself. I remind myself that everyone makes mistakes and deserves understanding and forgiveness, even me. I remember how the prodigal son's father received him with joy when he came home. This joy is mine when I let go of self-condemnation and finally come home to myself. And the reading from Scripture, but while he was still far off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion. He ran and put his arms around him and kissed him. Luke 15:20. Thank you.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
We have been exploring the ideas of change. This is all work based on the book Finding Yourself in Transition by Robert Brumet. And we've been using it as a Lenten series because I believe that it is important right now as we face new beginnings, hopefully sometime soon, that we honor where we've come from, that we recognize where we are now, and that we set some intentions for where we're going to be and what we want the future to look like. And so this idea of finding ourselves in transition just felt like a perfect fit for Lent, that time of going within in preparation for the birth and new life promise of Easter. And in week 1, we looked at changing our relationship with change. So instead of avoiding change or dreading change or denying that something is changing, to recognize that change is inevitable, change is constant. And so to move into a place of being more accepting and maybe even welcoming of change. When we do so and we resist change less, then we find ourselves more able to flow, more able to make decisions, more able to be calm than when we are pushing against what is the inevitable change. In the second week, we looked at the hero's journey. The notion of a hero or heroine who is living a life that is known, if not necessarily 100% comfortably, who faces some sort of shift. And as a result of that shift, the hero, heroine are forced on a journey from an ending into a void, into a place where they are forced to move through a place that they're not comfortable in. And in this place they discover aspects of themselves that they never knew. They discover strengths that they didn't know that they had. They face their fears, they face the monster, and come out on the other side of that facing transformed with a new understanding of who they are and a new understanding of what they can bring to the world. And that is what I encouraged us to consider for ourselves, that we be the heroes in our own journey, and that we commit to growing through what we are going through. In week 3, we spoke about endings and how endings are not always comfortable, that we're much more comfortable with the idea of a beginning, but not so comfortable with the idea of the pain and the loss of an ending. And my encouragement to us all was to be there, to allow ourselves to recognize that grieving and lamenting and experiencing the emotion of a loss is an important part of allowing it to find its rightful place as we move forward towards a new beginning. And then last week we spoke about the void. The void, that place where an ending has happened and now we have to try and learn how to integrate that into our lives. We spoke about 4 Ds that are required and necessary and will happen anyway with every ending. Those being the disengagement, the loss, the no longer able to be in relationship with a person, a possession, a workplace, some sort of separation that happens. And then as a result of that disengagement, there is also a loss in our identification with the role that we might have had. And so there's this disidentification where we need to let go of the old roles that we became pretty comfortable with. And then there's an aspect of disenchantment where we separate from the beliefs that we might have held that things would not change. Things that are beliefs that we held dear, perhaps even unconsciously. Ideas like, if I work hard, I will succeed. Or, if I please others, I'll get what I need, or if I find the right husband, wife, spouse, job, workplace, school, house, car, and so forth, that I will be happy. So disenchantment is sort of the shattering of the story, the fairy tale we may have told ourselves. And then disorientation. Once all of those changes have happened, there's a sense of, well, what am I and where am I and where do I go from here? And that creates this sense of wandering in the wilderness, the sense of bewilderment. One thing to recognize about these 4 steps is that they will happen anyway. And the more that we can expect them and recognize them, the more we will be able to navigate with them, to flow with them, and to be kind to ourselves when we recognize that one of these 4 Ds are happening. And one other thing to note about them is that they aren't linear. They don't happen in a line, this, disidentification and then disillusionment and then disorientation. No, it tends to be sort of this mucky, messy place where all these things happen at various times together. And then there are times when it feels like you're just getting yourself organized and it's just starting to make sense, and something comes along and knocks you right down again. And so not only is it linear, but it's also to some extent what Aaron would call iterative, which is that you go back and you work it again and again and again. So it's not just something that isn't linear, but it's also not often just a one-time thing. It takes time, and it takes kindness for yourself as you recognize that just when you think that you've gotten over something, bang, it hits you again. And that's okay. Eventually, that fog of bewilderment, that fog of not knowing where to go and who you are and what's next, eventually that mist begins to clear, and we can start to see possibilities for a new beginning. One thing to note about new beginnings is that they can have their own sadness too. They can even have a sense of guilt associated with them. The idea that I can now start to see a new possibility, and what about my past? Does that mean that I'm being disrespectful, or that I'm forgetting the other person, or the other possession, or the job, or something? And the answer is no. Our goal isn't to hang on so tightly to the past that we can't move to the future. Instead, what we want to do is learn how to take the best with us and integrate it with us and leave the rest behind. There can be this sense of sadness with that. And I bring to mind this quote that I heard from that 70s show. It's a TV show from, I don't even know if you can see it anymore. But in the show, the father is having a conversation with his teenage son, who has broken up with his girlfriend. And his son says to him, I'm having difficulty with this. And the father says this, and I quote, "There were times that I thought I would never get over her. But time passed. I moved on. And then the day came when I didn't think about her as much. Then a couple more days came along when I thought of her even less. Then one day I didn't think about her at all. And then that made me sad." That's Red talking to Eric about Red's first breakup with his first girlfriend as he's trying to comfort his son. And we see this perfect example of disengagement and disidentification, disorientation, and then almost like a relieving of all of that. And at the same time, do expect that there will be a sense of melancholy, perhaps, when you recognize that it is time to move on to a new beginning. Grief does not need to come with you in quite the rawness that you experience it at the beginning. And there will always be that melancholy with you. That appreciation is where we want to move to, though. The appreciation for the good that may have come from a relationship, a workplace, your health. Whatever change was in the past. And we leave the rest behind. In this way, we integrate the good memories. We integrate the lessons from our old experiences, and we take the lessons with us. We carry them with us. It's as if we find a deeper meaning, and that is what we carry with us. James Clear, the author, writes, and I quote, "Assign a more useful meaning to your past, and it becomes easier to take a more useful action in the present." Assign a more useful meaning to your past, and it becomes easier to take a more useful action in the present. So as you move through the void and the fog begins to clear, expect to have a bit of melancholy around the idea that you are moving forward. You might even experience some guilt about the fact that you are moving forward. Change the meaning, take the good, and move forward. I remember I spoke about that hero's journey and that transformation that we're all going through, and that time in the void that is so uncomfortable. Well, it is a time that we can identify some of the strengths that we might not have had and might not have been aware of. And it is a time where we can grow. And it is a time that can be very uncomfortable. And because of that sense of discomfort, our number one temptation is to fill the void. And so we distract ourselves, we find things to become addicted to, we work, we become busy, and we try to look for things to fill the void. And what Dr. Brumet calls that is a pseudo-beginning. He calls that a time when you are simply living the old life in a new form. The void can be a time of personal growth, and it can be a time that is so uncomfortable that we want to fill it with something. And so we will find, as a normal thing, a normal response to this discomfort, that we will want to fill with a new beginning. And so we may decide that we want a new job. And it won't be long before we find that we're speaking the same complaints as we had about the old job. Or we may find a new spouse and discover that we're complaining about the same behaviors as we did with the old spouse. Or we may find that it's a new city that we decide to move to, or a new neighborhood. And we discover, surprise, surprise, the same problems. We discover that the words that we're speaking is the same song as we've repeated over and over again. And it takes courage to recognize that we are the ones who are likely the constant in the complaint. That it's not really the complaint, but the complainer that is the thing that we want to work with. You may have heard a story about a man who runs into a friend, and that person is considering moving to a new neighborhood. And so the friend says to him, what is it like? What's it like in that new neighborhood that I'm going to move to? And the man says, well, what's it like in your existing neighborhood? And the friend says, well, my neighbors are loud, they do things at all hours of the night, they are mean, they're nasty, they're yelling. It is a horrible neighborhood. And the man says, chances are that'll be the same in the neighborhood you're moving to. He runs into another friend who says, I'm thinking of moving to that same neighborhood. I wonder what it's like. And the man says, well, what's it like in the neighborhood that you're living now? And the guy says, well, the neighborhood I'm living now, the people are lovely, they take care of each other, their gardens are beautiful, they are kind and respectful of each other, and it's really quite a lovely place to live. And the man says, well, you're going to find that in your new neighborhood as well. The truth is, it's not to do with what's out there. It's to do with how we are looking, what we are thinking and looking about our circumstances. As John Kabat-Zinn says, wherever you go, there you are. And so beginnings are something that we want to spend a little bit of time with, because we don't want to repeat the same behaviors as we have left. The goal of a beginning can be a place of great transformation if we allow it, if we are willing to go into a place of questioning what those songs are that we play, what the comments are that we make, what the complaints are that are part of our everyday. The question is, what can be removed? What can I put down? What can I use my power of release to set down and say, I'm not going to take that with me into a new beginning? And then, what aspect can be improved? What are some of the things that I do that I'm doing okay, but I could do even better? Overcoming the pseudo-beginning. That's what he calls it, when we basically replace the spouse with a different spouse with the same habits, or the job with a different job but with the same complaints, the neighborhood with the same complaints. That pseudo-beginning is really just the same thing over and over on the same merry-go-round. And so we have the opportunity to evolve at every void experience we have, which is every day. And the question is, what do we want to create for our future? It requires a certain amount of intention and attention, a certain amount of conscious paying attention. Think of it as conscious evolution. You may have heard the saying that crisis precedes transformation. Crisis precedes innovation. Necessity is the mother of invention, and so on. Basically, what these wisdom words are saying is that in the time of the void, we have the opportunity to look at what's important to us. What do we want to create? And then take a step out of the fog and towards more of what we want to create. And yes, there will be times that we go backwards a little. And we will simply turn around and keep moving towards that new beginning. We don't seek perfection, we seek progress. When we approach change with this idea that it need not be a catastrophe, but rather that it's an opportunity, we recognize our own power to be the hero in our own journey. It gives us the opportunity to stop, to discern, and to decide how we want to move forward. Right now, with the pandemic almost ending, hopefully, but certainly knowing that we're on, I shouldn't say certainly because we still don't know, but certainly hopeful for the idea that the worst of the pandemic is over. We have an opportunity right now for a pseudo-beginning or a new beginning. The pseudo-beginning being, let's just go back to everything the way it was. Driving as often as we did, working in offices as much as we did, being overscheduled as often as we were. Or we could take a look at what we've discovered while we were in the void. Discovered the values that have become more clear to us. Discovered the strengths that we didn't know we had. The creativity, the ability to pivot and to adjust and to find creative solutions. And the excitement of recognizing that we don't need to be as scheduled as we were. We don't need to buy as much as we used to. Discovering all of these things. Now we have an opportunity to decide and discern which way we want to go forward. And that, what I'm speaking about now with respect to the pandemic, is true with every ending, every void, and every beginning, that we have this opportunity to decide what we want to take with us, what we want to adjust, how we want to evolve and transform. And so I leave you with this thought, written by Reverend Dorothy Pearson, a Unity minister. She speaks about the idea of this beginning. The sun went down on Tuesday. It was a full day. It dawned with all the fresh innocence of every new day. It unfolded its morning with promise, with plan, with vision, with dreams. A full noon crowned its zenith. Then almost imperceptibly, the shadows began to lengthen. Not unpleasant, but welcome was the shade of the afternoon. The plan had been revealed. The vision cleared. The dream became retrospect. The sky began to spread the news that the day was done. The sun went down on Tuesday. Wednesday dawned with its own promise. O God of all the days complete, help me to understand the beginnings and the ends, so that I may let go the past, and in so doing, go renewed and free into the new day you plan for me. End quote. Every day is a new beginning. Every day is our opportunity for evolution. Every day is a day for thanksgiving and for recognizing that we may not know the entire path, but we are on a journey. And that journey is a gift not just for ourselves, but a gift for all of humanity. There will be times in the void. Let us use those times to clarify who we are, our values, our thoughts, our behaviors, so that we can welcome new beginnings. As sure as the spring follows the winter, there is order within the void. There is blessing in the mess. And our goal is to move forward and find ourselves in the transition. I bless you.
I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All is well, all is well. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. I relax, let go, release and surrender. All
On Thursdays, we meet at 11 o'clock on Zoom for a prayer and meditation service. It is a time where we gather and check in with each other, and then we move into a guided meditation in which we rest, renew, meditate, and name the people who are on our prayer list. If you would like your name or the name of somebody you care about to be included on that list, then please email us at unityofnewwestminster@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to get your name added to the list. And please join us on Thursdays at 11 for this time of connecting and renewing. It is a beautiful time. Please join us. If you would like to have one-on-one prayer, then please email us as well, and we will arrange for a prayer chaplain to contact you. On Friday evening at 7 o'clock on March the 26th, we will be holding our monthly talent night. Please join us with your poetry, prose, your comedy, your instrument, your song, anything, your dance, anything that you would like to share as part of our talent evening. And if you feel that you have nothing to share, then please join our audience. It is just a time that is fun and such a warm-hearted experience and uplifting experience. Hosted by Gerry Blackwell, 7 o'clock on Friday, March the 26th. We are so very grateful for the gifts that are shared with our community and that support the work that we are doing at Unity of New Westminster. We are so very grateful. Thank you for your contributions to our ministry. A portion of your contributions go to support organizations in our community that do amazing work. Please give freely if you are able, and if you aren't, that's okay too. I invite you to think of something that you are grateful for. Hold that in your heart. Hold that in your mind as we sing our blessing song today.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And we've come to the end of another service. Thank you for joining us. If you are watching us live on Zoom or on Facebook or YouTube, please join us on Zoom for a time of fellowship after the service. I hope that you enjoyed your experience with us today, and I hope you will join us again next week. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Bye-bye.
peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I am the light of God, I am the love of God, I am the power of God, I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. I am the light of God, I am the love of God, I am the power of God, I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. You are the light of God, you are the love of God, you are the power of God, you are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. You are the light of God, you are the love of God, you are the power of God, you are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. We are the